Microplastics, tiny pieces of plastic less than 5 millimeters in size, have emerged as a significant environmental and public health concern in recent years. Despite their small size, their widespread presence in the environment poses a substantial threat to ecosystems and human well-being. In this video, we delve into the definition of microplastics, their sources, environmental and health impacts, and how they find their way into the human body. And lastly, how we can avoid them. What are microplastics? Microplastics are classified into two main categories based on their origin and size. Primary microplastics. These are manufactured as small plastic particles for specific purposes, such as microbeads in personal care products, microfibers from textiles, and pellets used in industrial processes. Secondary microplastics. These are formed through the breakdown of larger plastic items, such as bottles, bags, and packaging, due to environmental factors like sunlight, wind, and wave action. Sources of microplastics. Microplastics enter the environment through various pathways, including plastic pollution, improper disposal of plastic waste, such as littering and inadequate waste management systems, leads to the fragmentation of larger plastic items into microplastics. Synthetic fibers. Washing synthetic textiles releases microfibers into wastewater, which eventually find their way into rivers, lakes, and oceans. Microbeads. Used in personal care products like exfoliating scrubs and toothpaste, microbeads are washed down the drain and enter aquatic environments directly. Industrial processes, plastic pellets or nurdles used as raw materials in manufacturing can spill during transport or handling, contaminating waterways. Environmental impact of microplastics. Microplastics have profound effects on ecosystems and wildlife. Marine life. Microplastics are mistaken for food by marine organisms, leading to ingestion and subsequent bioaccumulation in the food chain. This can result in physical harm, blockages in digestive systems, and the transfer of toxic chemicals. Terrestrial ecosystems. Microplastics can also impact terrestrial ecosystems when they accumulate in soils, affecting soil health, nutrient cycling, and plant growth. Pollution of waterways. Microplastics contaminate freshwater and marine environments, posing risks to aquatic habitats and biodiversity. Health impacts of microplastics. The potential health effects of microplastics on human beings are still being researched, but several concerns have been identified. Ingestion. Microplastics can enter the human body through ingestion of contaminated food and water. Seafood, salt, and tap water have been found to contain microplastics, raising concerns about their transfer to human consumers. Respiratory exposure. Inhalation of airborne microplastics, particularly from indoor environments with synthetic materials, may also contribute to human exposure. Toxicity. Microplastics can absorb and concentrate toxic chemicals from the surrounding environment. When ingested, these chemicals may leach into tissues, potentially causing adverse health effects such as inflammation, oxidative stress, and disruption of hormone regulation. Mitigating and avoiding microplastics exposure and its detrimental effects on human health requires a combination of individual actions, policy changes, and technological advancements. Here are some strategies to minimize microplastics exposure. Reduce single-use plastics. Opt for reusable alternatives to single-use plastics such as stainless steel water bottles, glass containers, and cloth shopping bags. By reducing plastic consumption, you can decrease the amount of plastic waste that ends up in the environment. Avoid products with microbeads. Check the ingredient list of personal care products like exfoliating scrubs, toothpaste, and cosmetics to ensure they do not contain microbeads. Look for natural alternatives like sugar, salt, or biodegradable exfoliants. Choose natural fibers. When purchasing clothing and textiles, opt for natural fibers like cotton, wool, and silk instead of synthetic materials like polyester and nylon. This reduces the release of microfibers during washing and wear. Use a microfiber filter. Install a microfiber filter on your washing machine to capture microfibers released from synthetic clothing during the washing process. This prevents them from entering wastewater and ultimately the environment. Minimize plastic packaging. Choose products with minimal or plastic-free packaging whenever possible. Buying in bulk and bringing your own reusable containers can help reduce plastic waste and microplastics pollution. Properly dispose of plastic waste. Dispose of plastic waste responsibly by recycling and properly segregating recyclable materials. Avoid littering, as plastic waste left in the environment can break down into microplastics over time. Support legislation and policy changes. Advocate for policies that reduce plastic pollution, such as bans on single-use plastics, extended producer responsibility laws, and incentives for plastic recycling and waste reduction initiatives. Participate in cleanup efforts. Get involved in community cleanup events to remove plastic litter from beaches, rivers, parks, and other natural environments. Preventing plastic pollution at its source is key to minimizing microplastics contamination. Filter drinking water. Use a water filter certified to remove microplastics to ensure that your drinking water is free from contamination. This can help reduce exposure to microplastics present in tap water sources. Stay informed and spread awareness. Educate yourself and others about the sources and impacts of microplastics. Share information about ways to reduce plastic consumption and minimize microplastics exposure with friends, family, and community members. Microplastics represent a pervasive and multifaceted threat to the environment and human health. Addressing this complex issue requires concerted efforts to reduce plastic pollution at its source, improve waste management practices, and develop innovative solutions for plastic recycling and cleanup. Additionally, more research is needed to better understand the extent of human exposure to microplastics and their potential health effects. By taking proactive measures to mitigate the impacts of microplastics, we can safeguard both the environment and our own well-being for generations to come. There you have it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tips on living a healthy life. Until next time, take care.